GarcElle is hysterical because she's been around these types of people, right? People. And when I mean that, I mean, we're talking about class, okay? So don't get it twisted. We're talking about like the haves and have-nots, okay? So, you know, this is America, and America is known for go big or go home, right? So at the end of the day, everybody has to assume that GarcElle gets it. She knows Erica's hood, like 100%. That's why when Dorit was trying to call GarcElle out with, you know, all this nonsense, I wasn't even like, I'm like, what the heck is she talking about? It didn't dawn on me that the reason that she did that was because Dorit called her out when she said she hires brown people and black people, and most of her nannies are Filipinos. Sorry. I live on a main drag. So, it had not dawned on me that this was the reason that she did that, right? She went off on GarcElle at the last dinner, yesterday or whatever, calling GarcElle a bully. I'm thinking, a bully, okay, they're like literally gaslighting each other, like on TV. GarcElle starts gaslighting her back by telling her, oh, stop it now, right now, right? That's what she was telling her. She was telling her, you're delusional. Not only are you delusional, you're making stuff up. And you gotta hand it to the girl because, you know, all that tells you, shut up, it's an ambulance. All that tells you is that GarcElle has been around the block, honey, okay? And she doesn't care, right? Like, as it should be. She doesn't care because you know what? She's been through this rodeo before. This isn't her first rodeo. And so she gets it. So she's going to tell Dorit, oh, so you think you're so great because you hire, like, brown people and black people to work for you? Sorry about the dogs, and obviously I've rescued a bunch of dogs, so I can't stop it. Sometimes they get loud, but what in the world? So GarcElle calls Dorit out for saying that she, you know, has people that are brown and black take care of her kids, right? Work for her, quote unquote. And that pisses GarcElle off, so she calls her out on it. And then the next episode, we see Dorit, like, you know, growing some balls, literally, and going off across the table on GarcElle. And you could tell that she was anticipating what was about to happen because she was thinking, thank you, Crystal, but she said, thank you, GarcElle, meaning, thank you, Crystal, I'm so glad that you had this dinner so that I could tell this, you know, bitch off. Guys, it's the neighbors, shut up. So this is the hysterical part of the whole entire night, because at that point, the camera is panning from all the different women, and it finally lands on Erika Jayne. And Erika Jayne is like sitting on it, right? She's been like simmering, right, on her little, you know, outburst that she went ahead and delighted all of us with, right, by going full hood on Sutton. So yeah, you can tell that was simmering, and that's funny. It really is. So I've been watching these girls since I was a kid, okay? I watched GarCelle's career, like, from day one when she landed on the YM magazine, right? Wow, I can't believe I remember that. I remember the spread they did on Paris Hilton and Nikki Hilton, right, when they were like 14, 15 years old. And we really are talking supermodels, right? Because, I mean, let's face it, Giselle was a supermodel. I mean, she's up there with like Naomi Campbell, and it doesn't matter how many projects she did. What matters is that she made it to print, right? And in this day and age, print, I mean, you know. So, I mean, you know, shout out to GarcElle that she's doing so well, you know. I was a babysitter when she was doing, like, you know, her coming up and becoming a model. I had a job to watch my siblings at the time, so, like, I didn't have that, you know, privilege of having dreams when I was 15 years old because my mother used me as her babysitter personally. And so I had to, you know, I mean, I was lucky if I got out alive, you know what I mean? My mom conditioned me to be fearful, hateful, a loner. She really, I mean, even as far, I was probably about 20, 30 years old, 25, 30 years old when she started telling me that, like, you know, like, you're old, right? You're a woman, right? This is the mother that I had. So, I mean, shout out to these women that have been able to, like, you know, conquer their dreams. You know, I wasn't able to do that. I was given responsibilities very early in life. I had to work very early in life. My mother ran a flea market, so we had to get up every morning at like crack of dawn, 3:30 in the morning, which is complete child abuse today in this day and age, right, considered. But it's not to say that it still doesn't happen. I mean, it happens today. You go to the swap meet and there's kids behind the freaking, you know, counter. So, you know, yeah, I didn't have that privilege, you know. Am I pissed? Of course I am. I'm really pissed. I'm mad because, you know, I'm 50 years old. I've had to learn a lot of things on my own. I had to unlearn a lot of the stuff that my mother taught me growing up, you know. She taught me that, you know, you couldn't be a duo nationality because you're always going to be committed to the one. She taught me that you always needed to stay, you know, far enough away from people, not to trust people, you know, not to, just a lot of, you know, today they don't do that anymore, you know. I mean, parents in this day and age teach their children, hey, you know what, like, you can be whatever you want. They don't go around telling their kids, you know, you will never amount to nothing. They don't do that. That's the generation that I grew up in. You know, my mother is from a horrible generation. I mean, we're talking the generation of, you know, a Holocaust. We're talking post-Holocaust because she was born in 1946. So there's a lot of stuff there that needs to be unlearned. But back to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I'm a Real Housewife of Beverly Hills. Well, I live in the Valley. The Beverly Hills are right, you know, outside my window, and I could literally look at them. So, you know, the fact that GarcElle is where she's at just reminds me of how far I've come. When I first started dancing, story time, when I first started dancing, I worked at a nightclub called the 2020 Club, right? It was called the 2020 Club. It was on Avenue of the Stars, and it was owned by Tommy Lasorda. I'm not sure how they were connected to Bailey's 2020, but that's who I worked for. Whoa, I think I just covered up my mic. Okay, let me repeat that. You know, the first place I ever started dancing at, it was a topless dance place, full alcohol, and they had the address was 2020 Avenue of the Stars. So that's in Century City, which tells you everything you need to know about the area. It was very first class. Lisa Rinna worked there. I wouldn't be surprised if that's where she was scouted by Harry Hamlin, right? In the last episode, she talked about how Harry bought her 2 long dresses.